Hello everyone, it's Vass, and first off I want to apologize. My original episode 11 video I did, and they have recently done an update for OBS, which is the recording software that I use, and when they did, it deselected my microphone. They made changes to the microphone and sound options. I can no longer boost my microphone the way I did before. They've made some subtle changes to it. So hopefully you will be able to hear me. Please leave comments in the messages comment section to let me know if you can hear me, and if not, I will see what I can do with the new settings options. So let's get to the video. I'm going to do a voiceover for this video, just so I can keep the video so you can see what I did before we do the episode 12. So I have come back to the house. I had done some work on the house as far as the track for the dwarving mining company. I also did some of the path work here. I've finished Kinos completely. And don't forget that you can vote on the next areas of the park that we will be building in. Just leave a message in the comment for the cities that you would like to build in. The next one, the only suggestion that I have is I am going to not count Norrath at this time. Sarex had a brilliant idea that since Norrath is underground in tunnels, that I could actually build a tunnel in the Norrath section and use a housing portal to go to a Norrath type house. And then I could build the house and build the Norrath part of the park in the breakout of one of the Norrath large homes. That way I can save on item count and building block count in this particular house if I need to. So I'm not going to count the Norrath for this time. So we still have Freeport. We also have Kelethin and Gorowyn. So for Norrath, a lot of the aspects of the house are going to be underground in tunnels, so it would save me a lot of building block and item count if I could actually build that in an Norrath house, and then I could use those item count and building block count for more theming on this particular part of the build. Now, as you see, I had switched some of the track layout around. Originally, I had started with the stair of banded sandalwood, and then I did one at 45 degrees and then another at 45 degrees to make a 90-degree turn. But the way these lay out to get the rails, so to speak, of the banded sandalwood to meet up together, I had to make the next piece larger. And that also means that the next piece was larger. And by the time I got up to here, I was at max scale and couldn't go any larger, and it was just getting bigger and bigger and wider and taking up more and more space. So I had to come up with a solution for that. The option that I went with were the triangle tiles, because the triangle tiles I could put flat, and they almost line up. Not perfectly, but they do line up pretty good. And I use the triangles instead of the narrow dividers or the tall dividers, because the narrow dividers and tall dividers have 8 lines on them. So to get the lines spaced to meet up, I would have to make that narrow or large divider super huge, and it would take up a lot of space. The other thing was that the lines in those were going the wrong direction. For instance, the narrow divider, it would have to be turned sideways to get the lines to line up, so it would be a lot sticking out on the left and right of the track. So I've got a lot of the inside part done. There's still a lot of theming to do, including lift hills and stuff like that. But as you can see, the track is coming together. Still have to do quite a bit over in this area here. And then the track's going to loop around and come up under the supports, the rickety supports, through the snow, and meet back up with the next piece of track. Got a tunnel for the track to go back out the front so people can see the train as it goes by. Here again, I'm explaining some details about the narrow dividers and large, tall dividers. And they don't meet up perfect, but they meet up pretty good. So now I'm at the point of continuing the track. I've got my first save, which is /save _ layout space, and I've named it Six Flags 1. So I'm just going to lift up a few of these. Actually lift up one, decided to do a few more at a time. That way I don't have to keep running back and forth. And then I lift up the one that I'm going to be copying from, and I do my macro for /save _ layout space Six Flags 2. And I load up my new from difference. And I've got a couple other saves that I've backed up along the way. That way if I need to go back to a certain point I can. So now I just sort my column. That way my larger is at the top. Makes it easier for me. And you can do right click, copy layout information, and then highlight what you want to copy to. Right click and do paste layout information. And these particular parts of the track need to be flat. I don't need them pitched like that first larger one. So then I load those up, which is my load Six Flags 3. And all 3 of them are in that one particular spot, which is the center point of the other one as well. So now I need to move those. So I'm going to select them all. I'm going to move them 2 up and then 2 to the northeast. again, like anything with the layout editor, you tweak it down till you get it exactly where you want it. So I will be doing that for a moment to get those lined up with the other one. And I was mentioning that the shimmer actually helps me line these up. It's got that little shimmer triangle portion there where they overlap. And then I just moved the tree down a little bit so it wouldn't be poking through. And now that I've got those lined up, I'm going to save and move them all just so I can get a new position. And I'm going to move those to the northeast so I can line them up end to end. And again, it's just tweaking it a little bit to get it to line up just right. I'm going to go to the opposite because it went a little too far. And it's pretty close. It could be closer. My little bunny's in the way. He's been getting in the way a lot of the build. Sorry about that. He's cute and he wants attention. Okay, so I have those three in that spot, and I'm actually going to come out from here and turn, go this way, turn again, and start going down. So I can come up under and go up under the rickety supports. And at that point, I will head back up to meet up with that track, and that will finish off the portion of the track. And I noticed that I was a little short because I'm going to use 3 triangles in that first section and another at least 1 or 2 triangles towards the end. But I went ahead and continued at this point with what I had, and at the end of the video I end the video so I can go get some more supplies so I can continue for episode 12. And since that is close to where I need, I use that triangle to copy from. And again, you can use Control C, or you can right click and use copy location info. And you can do the same thing, either right click or Control V to paste the info. Usually whenever I'm doing the videos, I do the right click options so you can actually see what I'm selecting. but it works the same. I can tell you what I'm doing with the Control C and Control V. Okay, so I've got those other triangles placed down with that one that I was copying. So now I'm going to move these up, and I actually moved it too far and kind of lost it. Wasn't sure where it was, so I played around a little bit. And they were right there the whole time, and I didn't even notice them. Right there. I looked straight at them. And I'm running around trying to find where they are, but there's so much of the banded sandalwood in here that I just didn't even notice them at first. So then I decided, well, I'll just copy it again. So I reloaded it and then copied again. And then I decided I'll just go up from there so I know how high it is. And there they are. So then I started from there to move them closer to where I needed them. Sorry about that. I tabbed too far. Ended up doing Alt-Tab to OBS operating, the recording software. And just bringing it down, trying to line it up just above the banded sandalwood rail. And that's pretty close. I lower it just a little bit because it looks a little high, but as you can see, they line up with the lines pretty good. They're a little different scales, so they don't line up perfectly, but they line up pretty good. Okay, and I got it really close to the other one. It's just barely over it. So now what I need to do is move it on out to the end, and I also need to rotate it. So I move it out. And of course the tracks aren't going the right way, so I need to rotate the triangles around so they can line up. So I rotate 90 degrees. And they line up really good now, but I need to move them further out again. And that is almost completely perfect. So I've got the 2 extra stairs there, and I've got the 2 extra triangles under this one that have been moving at the same time. So this is the one I copied from, and then I pasted to the other 3. And I've got one of those I'm going to leave there. So that second one I'm going to leave where it is, and then I'm going to just move those 2. I'm going to rotate them so I can show you. So I've got the one there, and then I've got 2 that I rotated around. So now I'm going to select those 2, rotate them one more time. That way they will line up. Those edges will line up with those edges after the railing, or after the stair. And I have to move it southeast this time. And just the 2. I left the other one. Once I got that one positioned, I left that one. And now I'm just moving the others. So I've got that over here pretty much close to where I need it to be. Now I'm going to select the final one and rotate that one. And it's the same thing. It's going to be just moving it over. And I'm then going to adjust so I can actually line them up a little better and not have them overlapped like they are. And if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have bothered with lining these up perfectly, because for episode 12, you'll see that I did go through and make some minor adjustments to the track so I could continue with some theming. Plus, I needed to get rid of that sharp turn. There was no way a train could come down that way and make that kind of turn. That is super unrealistic. The other turns are bad enough because they're not curved, they're straight. But that is a 90-degree pick up the train and turn it and put it back down type thing. So there's no way that would have made it. So in episode 12, you'll see what I do. I tried a couple of different things, or thought of a couple of different things, got some advice from Cerex and Demora, and ultimately I didn't do exactly what Cerex and Demora had suggested. I came up with another idea based on the theming that I was doing. Now the 2 banded sandalwood stairs I had extra underneath there, I basically moved those so I could start working with those to get a new from difference, and rotated them around, and now I'm going to start to move them in place. Now I need to go northeast, but at the same time I need to go southeast. So instead I can just go east. That way I'm going both directions at the same time. again, just tweaking it, moving it, and getting it lined up. This time I'm going to the south because I went too far towards the east and I still need to go southeast, so I'm going south. It's pretty close. It's a little off. Apparently my bunny liked that because he tapped his feet. Okay, so now I've got those in place, and this was basically 5.6. It's 5.5999 and so on. So I just copy that, or use that figure to move it 5.6 to the southeast. And that will put those two pieces end to end. And as you can see, it's sticking out some, so I need to push it out more. So I'm going to get a new from difference of those two triangles. And I was just commenting that I like how these are just above the others and really close, so the track almost overlaps itself. And just tweaking this a little bit to line up the railings, the rails in the triangles with the rails for the banded sandalwood. And the bunny said I'm good, so now I can move on, right? As long as the bunny says I'm good, I can move on. So I need to do the ramp down, so I'm going to copy these two stairs and move them over. And don't worry about the support. The support comes later. Won't be in this video, but it will be poking through the track, but don't pay any attention to that. It won't be there. It's not going to stay. I just have it over there as a reminder to myself, so I don't forget to use it. So I copied the first one to the third, and then the second one to the fourth, and now I'm going to use the third and fourth to move over to start making the ramp down. The first thing I'm going to do is actually move them over and get them lined up. That way, once they're lined up, I can start doing the angle down. And there I was talking about not worrying about the supports being in the way. Because they're not staying for now. So I need to come down with those so I can turn and come through there. So there's not much left, and I'm going to need another triangle soon. At least one more triangle, maybe two. So at this point, I was going to call it the end of the video, but before I left, I wanted to show you some of the emotes that the Othmere illusions have. I really wish we could have these emotes, or have Othmere as a playable race in Norrath, along with a few other races as playable races. The Knolls, the Bernay, maybe the Sirens and the Merid. Those would be cool to have as playable races as well. And ultimately I decide, well, I might as well get rid of my UI so you can see what I'm doing. And I think at this point I'm doing my favorite one, which is Shimmy. I look so happy, so cute. Look at me go. Wagging my tail, just moving around. And with Shimmy, I pretty much stay like that the whole time. And very shortly, I'm going to call it the end of the video. And I will check this one and then start working on episode 12.